We know that the Israeli forces had been keeping a close eye on the Madleen as it had continued its voyage towards Gaza. Yesterday it was reporting that it was just off the coast of Egypt, around 150, 160 nautical miles away from Gaza. And it actually had a GPS tracker on board which was displaying the signal of its location to its supporters so that people could keep an eye on its voyage. And I believe we have an image of that showing where it was off the coast of Egypt as of yesterday afternoon. This is when the Israeli forces first started to interfere with the vessel. The crew on board the Madleen said that the GPS tracker was being scrambled, that it was showing for a period of time there that the ship was actually on land outside the Jordanian capital Amman. This is a familiar and frequently used tactic by Israeli forces in this part of the world to scramble or spoof those GPS signals. And then a couple of hours later, in the middle of the night, local time, Israeli drones started to circle the Madleen in what the Freedom Flotilla, the organisation running this voyage, says was international waters. Those drones, it appears, based on videos we have seen on social media, started to spray an unknown white substance on the vessel, which many of the people on board said started to irritate their eyes. So shortly after, Israeli forces stormed the boat. They arrested the crew and took control of the ship. Now, the Israeli rhetoric around this voyage has been pretty strong right from the get-go, but certainly in the last couple of hours or so, we have seen the Israeli Foreign Ministry describe this as not an aid ship or a humanitarian voyage, instead saying that this is a selfie ship and saying that it was carrying a small amount of aid that, quote, the crew did not eat. It is very dismissive language, although not surprising language from Israeli authorities, particularly considering that the Israeli Defence Minister Israel Katz issued a warning yesterday saying that he had told the IDF to use all means necessary to stop the ship from reaching Gaza there. Also highlighting one of the crew, the activist Greta Thunberg, saying that she and her, quote, Hamas supporting colleagues needed to turn around now. For as much as Israel is saying that this is a show by the humanitarians, it itself is rolling out a fair bit of theatre here as well, with Israel Katz saying that the crew, when they arrive at the port of Ashdod, north of Gaza, saying that the crew will be forced to watch a video of Hamas's attacks on Israel back on October 7, 2023. So a fair bit of theatre happening on that side as well. It is insisting that the crew is safe, that it is being looked after, that it's been provided with food, and no doubt we will hear more from both the Freedom Flotilla and the Israeli authorities throughout the course of the morning here locally. We do have some video, though, of the moment just before Israeli authorities boarded that ship, with a warning being issued by the Israeli Navy to the Madleen.
The maritime zone of the coast of Gaza is closed to naval traffic as part of a legal naval blockade. If you wish to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip, you are able to do so through the port of Ashdod via the established channels and distribution centres.
So, Matthew, was this expected?
Well, certainly yesterday afternoon, when we started to see the reports of that GPS scrambling, it was clear that Israeli authorities were keeping a very close eye on this. There were also reports that drones were flying above the ship every now and then, keeping doing some sort of surveillance on its operations there. We also, if we cast our minds back a couple of weeks ago, the Freedom Flotilla, the organisation running this voyage, had chartered another ship known as the Conscience, and it says that that ship was attacked by drones in the early hours of a morning and they're pointing the finger of blame at Israel there, saying that Israel was responsible. The IDF has never formally commented there, but that ship was attacked off the coast of Malta and was then unable to be used, hence why the group shifted onto this other ship, the Madleen, and set sail from Sicily a few weeks later. There was also an incident back in 2010 when a Turkish flagged ship tried to deliver aid to Gaza, and that was boarded by Israeli forces and 10 people on board were killed. Israel has been maintaining a naval blockade of Gaza for almost 20 years, and the United Nations has consistently referred to that as being unlawful, saying that that is amounting to a broader punishment of the Palestinian population there, considering how reliant they are on aid. And this latest incident will only further fuel that debate, as this war in Gaza stretches well beyond a year and a half.
And so, Matthew, then what is the latest on the aid situation in Gaza?
It is incredibly dire still, Kath. This new private aid distribution model is operational, but its efficacy, whether or not it's actually getting enough food to the population, is a cause of significant debate. We have seen a series of deadly shootings in the areas around some of those aid distribution sites, particularly in southern Gaza near Rafah. And indeed, on Sunday morning, another 4 people were reportedly killed, according to local health authorities, and dozens more injured at one of those sites. That's just adding to the death toll in recent days there, which forced the private organisation running these aid distribution sites, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, to shut down operations for a number of days while they tried to improve the facilities that they are operating, and also seek assurances from Israeli forces about that security situation outside its perimeter. GHF continues to say that it's distributing millions of meals without incident, but that is wrapped in a very significant caveat that it is only talking about what happens inside its fence lines. And we have seen the vision of thousands, tens of thousands of desperate Palestinians scrambling to get hold of whatever food they can there. There are also aid trucks still entering Gaza, some 350 crossing at the Kerem Shalom crossing in the last week or so, but humanitarian organisations say that is just a drop in the ocean, that thousands of trucks need to be crossing into Gaza to really try to tackle the crisis which has developed over the last couple of months in the Strip.